I'm happy to be here in this talk about MunkiReport, what's next. I jumped to the occasion to do another talk on MacDevOps, and of course had to say something about MunkiReport to make Matt happy. So I wrote down, I'm going to talk about MunkiReport. Oh no, something about MunkiReport, that was the initial title. And then this week, Matt chatted with me, and he said maybe we can change the title to something else. So we had some thoughts about it, like MunkiReport, struggling MunkiReport, still can't kill it. It's still won't die, but we settled on MunkiReport. What's next? Which is actually what I'm going to talk about. So for the people who don't know me. My name is Arjen van Bochoven, which is a Dutch name, which is really hard to pronounce. It gets mispronounced all over the world. I live in Amsterdam. At the moment, I'm sitting in a houseboat where I live, and I've been managing Macs for a long time. I started off at a university in Amsterdam, and recently I moved to another company. Called WeTransfer. Maybe you know it. And at WeTransfer, I joined a very small team of engineers who kept the WeTransfer internal IT going. So, but with this change of jobs, also a change of tools appeared. So the most of the tools which are used are SaaS tools. So I didn't feel the need to set up Monkey there. But of course, I brought my own tool, MunkiReport, which also runs without Monkey. So I had some use case for it, and I just didn't want to part with it. Let's say that. So at WeTransfer, we're a small team, and we're a company that's growing really, really fast. So to keep up to date and keep up to speed with all the developments in the company, we need to automate as much as possible. So a couple of months ago, we started looking for tooling for that, and now we're using Workato, which is an automation platform. It resembles things like If This and That or Zapier, but it's more geared to enterprise, and it has some really, really nice features, which maybe I can do a talk about in a maybe future MacDevOpsYVR, because I think it's actually very interesting to see how far you can take things with automation. But let's get back to the subject of this talk, MunkiReport. So maybe some people haven't heard of it. If you ever talk to Matt, you probably heard of MunkiReport because he keeps on talking about it. JD just told me that he had to edit out hours of MunkiReport references from the podcast that Matt was making. So actually, it's actually a very simple idea, and it's not my idea, but I took it and I ran with it. So it's just a bunch of client scripts that collect data from Macs, and they send it to a web server, and which stores the data in a database, and then you get a web page, and it shows you whatever's in there. So just to get a taste of it, I made a very short video about MunkiReport. I'm going to comment on it. So there's a login screen. There's all kinds of authentication methods that hook up to it. You get a dashboard where you can see some events. There are some reporting pages that you can visit, like the client report that will show you a graph of how big your fleet is becoming. A hardware report that gives you stats about what kind of machines are in your fleet, what is the average age. It breaks down things in types, so you can get a nice overview for the management to see how your fleet is developing. This is more like an inventory system, but it works. So you can click through, then you get a list view, and then you can click through and you can get a client detail view where you can even find more information about all the clients that you have. It's very modular, so you can add more data to it. I think there's about 75 modules that collect data. So it's also themable, so you can get a black theme if you want. There's also the possibility, well, actually it's not very much used, but you can, if you're German and you like to see everything in German, you can do it. So localization is one of the things that was added to the project. And yeah, that's what it is. So just a brief history. It started in 2011. I already did a talk about the history of MunkiReport in 2019. So it's still in the archives of MacDevOpsYVR. It's a really treasure trove of really nice videos, so you can look it up if you want. So, and then from 2011, we were improving with many people who contributed to the project, which was really nice. And today we're at version 5.7.1, which includes support for the new Python library that we had to add after Apple removed Python from 12.3. I think this is going to be a common theme in this conference, talking about Apple taking away Python. So, as it stands, last year we had a talk about version 6. And it's the mythical release that never got released. So it was already, I think it's already 2 years in the making. It's a complete rewrite of the MunkiReport engine in another framework. Most of that work was done by Mosen. He's from Australia, and he volunteered to work on this, and he was really enthusiastic about it, which is really nice. And it is in a sort of workable state. So last year we had not a talk, but more of like a chat session on MacDevOps, and I listened back to the things we said there, and a lot of promises were made. I mean, it is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but yeah, it's not there yet, and it has lots of promises inside, but yeah, we can't work with it because something is holding us back. So it's still in beta. And why? So I've been thinking about this, and I found some excuses. So of course there are lots of dependencies, and this is something I ran in while I was preparing for this talk, because I felt I had to take a look at it again and see what's going on. So I tried to run it, and it failed to run, and then I spent a couple of hours figuring out how to debug it, and then a couple of hours figuring out what was actually going on, because all kinds of errors were popping up, but apparently the error was something very deep hidden. And this is one of the things. It's become a really complex project. So these are the three things I'm mentioning here. Complexity is, of course, one. Software environment changes. So things like PHP is the language where it's written in, and it's always updating, fixing bugs, but also introducing new features and getting rid of deprecated items. So it's very hard to keep something stable in something that's moving so fast. And of course, Apple is also a software environment change. It's changing what it's doing with the scripts on the client. And it might get harder. I don't know. It's I haven't looked at Ventura yet, but it might get harder. I already read about some people who need to distribute signed binaries, so I'm not sure what's going on there. So just to give an example of the complexity of the project, the version 6 needs 324 packages to run. So these are all open source packages that are maintained by other people and that may or may not contain good code. This is one of these packages was breaking the last build that I was using. It was overriding some variable somewhere. It was really deep hidden. But it shows that modern software deployment is really hard because you're dependent on so many things. I thought of doing a talk about this, but then I would be talking for hours. So, but when I'm honest, the most important dependency is, of course, the dependency on people. And I made a Venn diagram about the convergence of Mac admins and the full stack web devs that are actually needed for this project. And you see it's empty in the middle. So I think the only one who would fit in there would be Mosen, but he's not a Mac admin anymore. So he is just on the right side in the full stack web dev. So, and this is actually the main problem that we're facing at the moment. And I'm not really sure how to solve this. So, of course, there are time issues. So none of the people working on this version 6 really needs it. And also, of course, we're all very busy people. We need to do something for our jobs. And I also had a line here that says personal things, but everybody has personal things. So I don't think it's really an issue that's relevant for this project. But yeah, I had some personal changes that made me rethink the time I'm spending on things. So, and probably other people will feel the same. And the other thing is, of course, enthusiasm issues. So if you're really enthusiastic about a project, then of course you don't mind spending lots of time in it because you really feel that you're going somewhere. And I had this last year, I felt a little bit burned out on it. So that's also something that played a role in the stalled development of the project. So, but there is hope and fairies and unicorns because, of course, I'm talking about it again, when Apple removed Python in the beta that was running for 12.3, many people jumped to the cause because it would kill the client scripts in MunkiReport. And Per Olofsson put many hours, I believe, in making a package for Python that would work for MunkiReport. And also Tuxedo took care of lots of modules to use this new Python package. And actually, quite smoothly, we went into 12.3, I think. And I was really amazed that people would come together and fix this. So I actually had to spend some time on it as well because I'm an admin for the project. So I had to release some stuff and I had to check some things. But yeah, this was something I was really unexpected, and I was really happy. And I want to thank everyone who contributed there for their efforts. And the other thing is that the state of automation at my current job, we transfer may or may not need data that comes in from MunkiReport. And one of the things that we would need is an API. And the current MunkiReport API access is really basic and not very far evolved. And version 6 has much better possibilities for API calls. So this might spark a little bit more interest to maybe use some time that I have during my work times to work on the project. And then, of course, there's this talk, which also made me enthusiastic for the project again. I took another look at what was going on, and it was really, yeah, I got some enthusiasm back. So I have to say that. So this is something. Yeah, I have to thank Matt for that. So this is the end of my talk. I was going to show you just something, a hobby I picked up while I was not working on MunkiReport.